Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Table Talk with Pastor Jon. We're digging into the gifts themselves,
Yes,
the
here we
love
go.
gifts.
Here we go.
So you begin by talking about gift envy, I guess.
Yeah, I think one of the things we're going to go through it week in and week out is there is always this temptation to either want something we've not been given or to presume someone's motives who has something different than we do. And all of that stuff leads to disunity. Mm-hmm. And so I just was encouraging us to begin to pray that we would be thankful in God's no, that we'd be thankful for what we get, whether it's one gift or a few, and whatever category they're in, and to be really careful not to presume other people's motives or intentions as they're using their gifts. The thing that we're going to start really wrestling down as a church is 21 plus spiritual gifts means there's 21 divine impulses going in 21 directions. So we got to be really careful that the center holds.
Right. And so we want to begin to understand the gifts, and you break them down into three categories, so we can go in three directions rather than just 21.
21, that's right.
So tell us about the three.
Yeah, so this was originally written years ago by Robert Clinton at Fuller, and he basically said the best way to think about the gifts in Scripture are love gifts, word gifts, and power gifts. Love gifts evidence the love of God. Word gifts clarify who God is, what He's like, what He likes, what He doesn't like. And power gifts evidence that He's in the room, that He's real. And so a lot of times, again, it's not about personality. We, by gift orientation, ebb towards one or two maybe of those poles that make up the three-legged stool.
Right. What's your pole?
So I'm word and I am power.
Okay.
And no love.
Okay.
You?
I'm word. I'm an encourager.
Yeah.
But it leans love.
Yeah, you're word and love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So we're dealing with love to begin with, and you help us to look at the three.
Yeah, the first three. Yeah.
So they're all different, but they're all the same.
Yeah. The interesting thing about love gifts have a secondary place in the sense of they always end up supporting something else. So the gift of helps or hospitality either sets someone else free to do something or actually provides an environment for God to work in a better way. The gift of giving, enables people to do kingdom ability initiatives they can't without the giving, right? Like administration sets leaderships and visionaries free to build the plan to get the thing done that God has asked us to do. So the brilliance, of course, and they're love gifts because they're rooted in service. So they're always in this place in their healthiest place, looking to set other people free to use their gifts. They become dark and they become rigid and dangerous when suddenly you want to actually control the thing you're trying to support. That's when death shows up every single time. Or if you start demanding credit, or you're looking for credit versus God's credit. That's not saying, by the way, we should never not encourage everyone who does this, because actually one of the things about help gifts, for example, which is amazing and difficult, is they tend to do so many tasks that are unseen. And if you don't encourage people that are doing unseen things, they can feel used or feel bitter. So we're responsible to encourage them, but they're also responsible to actually make sure they're doing it for right reasons.
Right. Okay. And it seems helpful that you use a different word for each one. So instead of administration, which sounds stuffy, you talk about guidance.
Yeah, guidance, and that's actually right out of the Scriptures. And that nautical term, that helmsman who actually sort of gets the ship to where it's supposed to go. And it's just absolutely, or wise counsel, which is not the gift of wisdom, by the way. We'll talk about that's a power gift later. But people who, again, there's tons of administrators across our church. But just because you can do administration naturally doesn't mean you have the spiritual gift of administration. Because you talk to anyone who has a spiritual gift of administration, they're always thinking about how they can build the plan to do that kingdom thing. And there's just joy behind it. We're going to talk, I think, next week about how you discover gifts without a test. And that's going to clarify a lot of this too. But yeah, like the gift of guidance and wisdom, so needed, because people like me, Paul's another example in the Scriptures, right? We need to save the whole Roman Empire. We need to, do all this stuff. And someone's like, yeah, but to do that, you need a plan.
Yeah.
So without a visionary, you don't know your future. Without a plan, you don't know how to walk there. And it's this dance, but you need to know what your role is in that dance. And that's really important.
Right. And similarly with helps, you talk about hospitality.
Yeah, like it's so interesting. We're all called to be hospitable, and interestingly, in a post-Christian pluralistic world, one of the biggest things we can do to witness to neighbors, especially neighbors from all sorts of different backgrounds, is be hospitable. If you're not hospitable, you'll never reach them. Hospitality is embedded in culture. So we need all to participate in the discipline of hospitality. But there are people, and Bill, because you work in this world, you know this, there are people, and it's like they cannot wait to open their home. They're like, let's go. They're gonna pay for the food, they're so excited. And when you like almost clinically, diagnostically talk to them, what's happening? They're like, well, if people come to my home, they might meet Jesus. If people come to my home, they're gonna feel loved. If people come to my home, we're gonna study the Bible. They talk this way, where I'm like, yeah, you can come to my home, and that's fine, and we'll hang out, but don't stay too long. Like, see the difference between gift and the real interesting thing for, roommates or married couples is, this is deeper than personality. You need to talk through this, because actually one spouse or person might be like, why are you in my space all the time? Like, get out of here. And they need to realize, oh no, this is a spiritual impulse I need to support. And so it becomes sacrificial.
Okay. And then giving is about being truly generous.
Yeah, and like I'll just say, like, my father has the spiritual gift, and it's so interesting growing up under a mom and dad, but especially my dad like this, because he's not sitting on millions of. It has nothing to do with that, but he just always was like, how can I give? And interestingly, like my parents were missionaries, and when I grew up overseas as a kid, my parents were regularly supporting 3, 4, 5 other missionaries, even as missionaries. And it was fascinating to see this. While they were getting support from others and they were supporting others, they never were under-supported. And my dad tells this crazy story, like he was as a married guy, where he had an encounter with the Lord, actually related to Calvary Baptist Church down the road. And they were building a new building, or the old building, I think it was the new building, and he had a certain amount of money in his bank account. And there was a specific, and the Lord said, give all of that. And I wouldn't tell everyone just to obey that every single time. But in that case, he tells this story, he'll tell it better than I do, but right when he gave it, and gave everything, or whatever it was, 2 days later, a check showed up and like covered everything plus. Now that's not everyone do that and God gives you more. That's not how it works, but it's just people with a gift of giving hear the Spirit to keep giving generously. And it's incredible when you listen to their stories.
Right. Wow, a lot for us to unpack.
Yeah, lots. That's only 3 gifts.
And you noticed at the end of the sermon, Pastor Jon was encouraging us to really dig in at the service level, to go forward and have prayer. Yeah. And in your groups, you can do the same sort of thing.
Totally. Do you have the gift? Do you think you have the gift? Would you like to ask for the gift? Please pray about that in your group.
Right. And ask yourselves, who was it that brought snacks tonight?
Yeah, that's right. And was it forced or was it willing?
Right.
Discipline or gift?
So much to talk about.
Sure.
We just pray that the Lord will help you unpack your gifts and experience more of His fullness.
Right on.
God bless.